Hello, it's Natasha. Happy to see you back. In today's video, I want to share with you a couple ideas how to use your favorite big, bold floral images and your water reactive inks. So you will need an image, a floral image that is great for coloring, so the ones that are great for coloring, but the ideas I'm going to share with you today will work for the cases when you don't have time to color, or you're not very confident with your coloring skills, or you just want to have fun and you just want to go for a new look. So I'm going to use this stamp set, Full Bloom from Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm also going to use coordinating die for this set. I will be using some Pinkfresh Studio inks because they are perfect for water-based techniques, and some of Pinkfresh Studio watercolors because again they match perfectly the colors of the inks. But you can obviously use any water reactive inks that you have on hand. So let's jump right in. Okay, so I have my stamp on the dough of my Misty, and I'm going to use 3 colors of Pinkfresh Studio inks. As always, all the supplies will be linked below, and I'm going to ink my stamp with aquamarine, then blue jay, which is probably one of my favorite colors, and summer shower, so the lightest of the 3 colors. And now I'm going to spray it with water. And again, if you want to have a more watercolory, more artsy and messy look, add more water. If you want to keep your image more defined, add less water. So just experiment and do what works for you. So let's stamp it. Let's give ink some time to absorb into paper. So remember that I'm using watercolor paper, but if you don't plan to use a lot of water, it might work with, you don't necessarily need watercolor paper for that. Okay, so some of my images didn't stamp, some parts of the image didn't stamp well, so I'm just going to repeat the process. With the second stamping, for example, if you did a better job than I did with inking your image, you can again stamp with water, or you can stamp it without adding water if you want to. Okay, if just you want to give more definition to your image. Okay, let's give it a second. So here I have some parts that didn't stamp quite well. Okay. And okay. Yeah. And like so. So it's kind of like a crafty workout, isn't it? So just give a good pressure. Okay. Yeah, I think I quite like it. All right, so now we'll leave this to dry for a while and we'll prepare our background. For the background, I'm going to use matching colors of Pinkfresh Studio watercolors. So I had these 3 inks, and I'm going to use these 3 watercolors: Blue Sky, Sapphire, and Aquamarine. Okay, so now I'm going to create a background. I'm just using a regular brush. You can use any brush you have at hand. And I'm going to use the lines on my grid mat to help me paint more or less straight lines. You can go for diagonal lines because it's easier to paint them, and not that it's easier, but if they go wonky or if you don't have them straight, it's not so visible as if you go with straight lines. And in a minute I'll show you a card that I made with diagonal lines, a similar card, basically the same idea, just in different colors. But I want to try to go for horizontal lines. So, and I'm just going to start with aquamarine. So, and if you know me, you know that I like wonky lines. I think that they make handmade cards particularly charming, and so I don't mind wonky lines at all. So then again, and I'll just repeat this to create stripy pattern on our watercolor cardstock. Okay, our background is ready, and so if you worry about painting or freehand painting your lines, just go quickly. I've noticed that the slower you go, the shakier your line is, the shakier your hand is, the more you doubt, the more you worry. But if you go quickly, just like whoosh, 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 it usually goes straight. But even if it goes wonky, I think it's lovely. There is beauty in wonkiness. Okay, so while our background is drying, let's add, and we have our watercolors ready, let's add some splatters. Okay, you know, well, I can't make a card without splatters, you know that. So let's mix some colors, and I'm not worrying about getting on anyway, because I will die cut my floral image. So I'm trying to add matching colors onto, so green on aquamarine, dark blue on dark blue, and blue on light blue, but I don't really worry about getting somewhere else. Okay. All right, once it dries, I'll die cut this out, and our card will be almost ready. Okay, our card is almost ready to assemble. So you can adhere your floral arrangement just on top of our stripy panel, but I'm actually going to die cut this image from my panel as well, because I really want to get the peak of the colored cardstock that I'm going to use for my card base. Like here, for example, for this card that I made when I was preparing for this video, I used pink cardstock for the base, and I adhered my floral arrangement on foam squares, and I just shifted it just a tiny bit so that you can get a peek of this beautiful pink color. And here, as you see, I used diagonal stripes, so they are probably more forgiving. So if you're not sure that you can draw straight lines, just try diagonal lines. And also I'm going to use bold black sentiment because I really like using bold sentiments for my cards, and to that's why I added some black dots onto the centers of my flowers, just to connect together this blackness of the sentiment and the flowers. But you can use, for example, jewels to decorate the centers of your flowers, because the card is really simple, so you might zhuzh it up a little bit by using some embellishments. Okay, so our card is ready to assemble. You will see it in the final photos. Let me know which one do you prefer, diagonal or horizontal, and which colors do you prefer, and let's make the second card. For my second card, I'm going to use again 3 colors of Pinkfresh Studio inks and 3 matching colors of their liquid watercolors. So I have placed my stamp on where I want to have it on my cardstock, and so I'm going to ink this now with my inks. Please make sure that once you finish stamping, do not remove your stamp from the dough of your Misty. You will see why in a few minutes. So you need it where you initially had it, so it's quite important for this card. Okay, so now we're going to stamp it. Okay, all right, and now you take a spray bottle and you spray your stamped image. Okay, so we will allow the ink some time to move a little bit. We'll let it dry just a bit and we'll continue. Okay, so now our panel is somewhat dry. It's not completely dry. And as you see, blue ink and pink ink have moved quite nicely. And the purple ink, which was lavender, didn't really move that much. So different colors of ink respond differently to water. Some inks move more, some inks move less. So just experiment. So another card I will show you that I created using the same technique. I used different colors for it and they moved differently as well. So just play around. I'm going to color my image. And I'm going to use, let's say, I'm going to use blue ink for the leaves and purple and pink for the flowers. And I'm going to go for a very messy watercolor. So I'm really not thinking about shading or so it's really I'm going for a messy look because this bleeding image that we have, I quite like it. I like the messy look of it, so I'm just going for it. So I'm coloring the images, and I think this is great. This technique is great for those of us who are maybe not very want to experiment with some more artsy techniques, or just want to play around and don't have much time, for example, for coloring, or not very confident with coloring skills. For example, I'm not confident at all with this, so this works for me. And I like, you know, these messy and artsy look, because, you know, it's not because I can't color, it's just because I want it to look messy. Right? So I'm just finished the coloring and I will get back to you. Okay, so our panel is dry now, and I have added some splatters using the same watercolors that I had on my mat. And now you can leave the card as is. I think it looks quite pretty, but I'm going to add black outline. So that's why I asked you not to remove your stamp from your stamping platform. So I'm going to place my image back into my Misty, and I'm going to stamp it using black ink. But as I say, you can leave it as is. I think it's with the black outline, it will certainly look more bold. In this way, it looks probably more delicate, and maybe that will be the look that you're going for. But I'm going to add black sentiment. That's why I'm going to add black outline. But if, for example, if you go for the color of the sentiment using the same one of these inks, or maybe you can emboss the sentiment in gold and add some golden splatters, I think this will look lovely. yeah, I probably should have done that. But okay, anyway, I'm adding black outline. Ta-da! So I hope it worked out. The moment of truth. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so now I will finish assembling my card. I'm going to run it through die cutting machine using diagonal stitch rectangles. This will straighten up my panel because it is a little bit warped after watercolor, and it will also decorate the edge. And I'm going to use some bold sentiment and one of the colors of colored cardstock for the base, blue or pink. I don't know. Decisions. So here is the original card that I made again when I was thinking about the video. For this card, I used Blue Jay and Aquamarine, just 2 colors, and they moved nicely, and I really like how it turned out. And so here are the cards that we created today. I hope you like this idea how to use your favorite big floral images and your water reactive inks. I hope you give this idea a try. Have fun playing with your favorite colors, with your favorite inks, and with your favorite big floral stamps. Have a wonderful day. Be safe, take care of yourself, and thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.